Right now, Lamine Yamal just might be the scariest talent in football. Goals in big games, taking on defenders twice his age and humiliating them.
The roar of the crowd hit different when 17-year-old Lamine Yamal touched the pitch. Quick, fearless, electric, Barcelona fans couldn't help but whisper, "Is this the next Messi or maybe even better?" But this story isn't about comparisons. It's about Yamal himself. Still a teenager, he's already rewriting what it means to be young in professional football. With the ball at his feet, there's no hesitation, no nerves, just audacity, elegance, and pure confidence, as if the spotlight was made for him. Barcelona supporters, who once marveled at legends like Xavi, Iniesta, Ronaldinho, and Messi, now see something fresh in Yamal, a prodigy who plays with fire and fearlessness, carving his own path. At only 17, he's not just making history, he's making it look inevitable.
Mataro had a deep interest in football, and it wasn't uncommon to see many young kids Yamal's age taking an interest in the sport.
Although Yamal faced struggles growing up, his resilience always shone through. Born in July 2007 in the Catalan town of Mataró, his life was shaped by the cultures of Morocco and Equatorial Guinea through his parents. His father, a Moroccan who once dreamed of being a footballer but never reached the professional stage, found in his son the continuation of a dream deferred. His mother, with her Equato-Guinean heritage, added yet another layer of cultural depth to the boy who would one day be described as the face of modern football's diversity. But Yamal's childhood was not rosy. His parents separated when he was just 3 years old, and while that could have fractured many children's paths, it only seemed to strengthen his bond with the game. Football became his safe place, his escape, and his weapon against the uncertainties of life. At 4 years old, kicking a ball around at a small local club called La Torreta, he was already impossible to ignore.
Getting bathed by Messi should have been just a random ad, but it was part of something, a bigger picture. But even with the signs from destiny early on, he still has to build his path.
Even coaches marveled at his control. Neighbors whispered about the kid with magic in his feet, and his father knew there was no turning back. For Yamal, walking through the gates of La Masia felt like stepping into destiny. Barcelona's academy isn't just a school. It is football's most famous factory of dreams, the crucible that forged legends like Pep Guardiola, Xavi Hernandez, Andres Iniesta, and of course, Lionel Messi. But the path inside La Masia is never simple. It is ruthless in its expectations, demanding brilliance from boys who are still learning about the world beyond schoolyards and playgrounds. For Yamal, it was the perfect place to test whether talent alone could grow into greatness. But from the very start, Yamal has been exceptional. Coaches even rotated him across positions, testing him as a midfielder, forward, and even on the left, before realizing that his brilliance blossomed most dangerously from the right wing. There, with the ball glued to his left foot, he could cut inside with devastating effect, curling shots into the top corner or slicing through defenders with the sort of composure that shouldn't belong to someone barely in his teens.
The Barca Academy gave him a big step towards it. Signing for Barcelona was the dream, but it was also clear that at his new club, he'd have to work hard to earn a place in the team. See guys, a big part of Lamine Yamal's backstory is his roots.
By the age of 15, things went differently when Xavi Hernandez, Barcelona's head coach, decided the boy was ready. It was a decision that shook even some of the senior players, not because they doubted Yamal's ability, but because the responsibility being placed on his young shoulders was immense. Yet when Yamal made his debut for Barcelona's senior team, he didn't just look like he belonged, he looked like he had been waiting for it all his life. In that moment, he became the youngest player ever to represent the first team in official competition, and instantly, the footballing world realized that this was not another teenage experiment. This was the beginning of something rare.
See guys, a big part of Lamine Yamal's backstory is his roots, and he never forgets that. The 3 little flags on the back of his boots, they tell a whole story.
What separates Yamal from countless prodigies who burn brightly only to fade is not just his skill, but the way he plays with a maturity that seems older than his years. His style is electric but intelligent, flamboyant yet efficient. As an inverted winger, his left foot is his sword, carving arcs of brilliance as he cuts inside from the right, teasing defenders into committing before punishing them with precision. He dribbles not just to entertain, but to dismantle. He reads defenders' body shapes, anticipates their lunges, and then accelerates past them with the ease of a veteran who has spent a decade at the top. When he shoots, there's an artistry to the curl, a sense that the ball has been guided by imagination as much as technique. And yet, behind the flair lies an equally important quality: work ethic. Yamal doesn't stroll around the pitch waiting for moments of glory. He chases, presses, tracks back, and shows the tactical awareness of someone who has studied the game deeply. For all the talk of his magic, what may be most frightening is his willingness to grind.
Yamal's dad is of Moroccan descent. His mum is from Equatorial Guinea, but Lamine himself was born and raised in Spain.
The 2023-24 season confirmed what many had hoped but few dared to expect: that this boy could not only survive at the elite level, but dominate it. In a league filled with hardened professionals and world-class defenders, Yamal shattered records that had stood untouched for decades. He became the youngest starter in La Liga, the youngest scorer in Spain's top flight, and the youngest player ever to feature in the Champions League. He didn't just participate, he thrived. 14 goals and 21 assists in 43 appearances marked him as not just a wonder kid, but one of Barcelona's most productive players. The numbers were impressive, but the way he produced them was even more thrilling. A mazy dribble followed by a perfectly weighted pass. A thunderous strike from outside the box. A clever cross at the exact moment his teammate peeled away from his marker. These were not the contributions of a boy experimenting with his talent. These were the weapons of a fully fledged star.
Legends are not just impressed, they're shocked.
First time in my life I saw, wow, who is it? How is it possible in this age?
Some say he's already leading his country.
Even with veterans like Robert Lewandowski and fellow winger Rafinha drawing defensive attention, Yamal often found himself with space to exploit. And he did exploit. Sometimes he would glide down the wing before unleashing a sharp cutback. Other times, he would drift inside, curling a shot toward the top corner. The unpredictability made him unplayable. Fans held their breath when the ball reached him because something was always about to happen. The boy had become Barcelona's spark, its golden thread in attack, and perhaps its future heartbeat.
No, I don't think we've ever seen any of us. I think about myself when I was his age.
Yeah, I was doing a paper round at that age.
Yeah, I was kicking a ball, but I was not even dreaming that I would become a professional football player. I was at Real Madrid Academy, but...
Inevitably, he was compared to Lionel Messi in every conversation about him. Messi, the greatest player in Barcelona's history, set standards so high that even greats like Neymar and Suarez were judged against them. Yamal shares many traits with Messi: the dazzling dribbling, the ability to conjure goals out of nowhere, and a vision that transforms teammates into stars. Yet, there are subtle differences. Yamal's frame is taller, giving him a slight physical edge in duels. His tactical education is shaped by a modern era where pressing and defensive contributions are non-negotiable. In this way, he represents not just a continuation of Messi's legacy, but an evolution of it. Whether he ever truly surpasses Messi remains to be seen, and perhaps unfair to demand at such a young age. But the possibility hangs tantalizingly in the air.
He's a special player. Hopefully he can keep going like this, improve, because he's still very young. But he is already very, very important to us now.
No, he's been a fantastic player. At 17, to do what he's doing on this big stage is...
The excitement is not confined to Barcelona. Spain has already claimed Yamal as its next national treasure. He debuted for La Roja as a teenager and wasted no time in etching his name into history by scoring and becoming the youngest goal scorer in Spain's history. It was a symbolic moment. A boy with Moroccan and Equatorial roots, born in Catalonia, now wearing Spain's red and carrying the weight of a nation's expectations. International tournaments will surely be his stage in the coming years, and the thought of him terrorizing defenses at the European Championship or the World Cup adds to the fevered anticipation of his rise.
2022 La Liga season, it was clear this kid was special. And very young too. He was still only 15, and at the time had just become the youngest player to debut for Barcelona.
Aside from all the records and accolades, lies relentless sacrifice. Yamal's father often speaks about the pride of watching his son live out the dream he could not achieve himself. Coaches at La Masia describe a boy who listened, learned, and never let his growing reputation burn his zeal. As we know, in every era in football, a new hero craves someone who carries not just skill, but a story worth telling. Lamine Yamal is quickly becoming that figure. His journey from the streets of Mataró to the grand stadiums of Europe is not just a tale of talent, but of perseverance, multicultural identity, and the timeless beauty of football's ability to turn ordinary boys into legends.
His short career so far, but obviously a very good one.
Bueno, para empezar, yo diría que en mi opinión es un fuera de serie. Es un fuera de serie que sale en cada...
At just 17, he carries a joy for the game that feels contagious, a spark that reminds fans why they fell in love with football in the first place. When he smiles after scoring, when he throws his arms wide and sprints toward the corner flag, it is as if the whole stadium is lifted by his spirit. The road ahead is long, and caution is always advised when speaking about greatness too early. Injuries, form, and the weight of expectation have derailed many bright careers. But there is something about Yamal that feels different. There's something about the way he shrugs off pressure, embraces responsibility, and treats the game as though he was born for it. If he continues on this path, staying grounded, learning, and growing, there is little doubt that his name will be etched into football's history books. Barcelona, Spain, and the wider world may well be witnessing the rise of a generational player whose brilliance will define the next decade.
I'm in charge he's going in the right way because he's very young, but yeah, he has talent for everything.
When you want to reach this level, like Ronaldo, like Messi, and also the big players in the past.
For now, though, the beauty is in the present. Watching him glide across the pitch, defenders falling one by one, fans rising in anticipation, and commentators scrambling for words to describe what they just saw. The story of Lamine Yamal is not about the future alone. It is about the magic he is already delivering, making the football scramble for his unmatched talents. Each match feels like a new chapter. Each of his dribbles is like a line of poetry. Each goal like a promise of more to come. Football lives on moments, and Yamal is creating them with a frequency and flair that suggests we are witnessing the beginning of something extraordinary, a story unfolding in real time, where raw talent meets fearless imagination, and the world pauses to marvel at brilliance not bound by age, expectation, or the limits of possibility. The name Lamine Yamal is no longer a whisper in the academy corridors of La Masia. It is now chanted in stadiums, debated in cafes, and trending across social media feeds worldwide. He is not just Barcelona's next big thing. He is football's next great story. With records falling at Yamal's feet and skills that echo greatness, do you think he could surpass even Lionel Messi? Let's know your thoughts in the comments. Also, do not forget to like, share, and subscribe for more videos.